Do you have two turntables and a microphone?
I mean, if I did, I wouldn't even know where it's at.
Fair. Look, I can't just come up with jokes at your beck and call, all right?
What the? You the one that came with the joke. I respond in kind with something just as, if not more witty, if I do say so myself, Pop. And then you get fucking...
Apparently, I outwitted you because you didn't even understand what I did there.
Oh! I'm feeling myself, but apparently I shouldn't be.
Because beck and call.
Did you outwit me, or is that
apparently? Because I thought it would be a stupid line to say, but you didn't get it. Therefore, no. You like to do that corn stuff here, but I know about your low carb diet. Ain't no starches. Ain't nothing corny about it. That ain't no excuse.
Well, we should probably get on with this anyway because delay. So
Yeah. Well.
X gon' give it to you. Fuck waiting for you to get it on your own. X gon' deliver to you. Knock, knock, open up the door. It's real. With the pop, down top is stainless steel. Hit him with full strength.
Sorry. Oh, wait.
And I got a good word. Hit him with full strength. So they did it. And I got such a good heart. Make a motherfucker wonder if he did it. Damn right. And I'll do it again. Cause I am right. So I got to win.
And then keep going. Anyway, hey guys.
I'm surprised you knew as many words as you fucking did.
I listened to that song a lot. I just don't. Surprised. I never fully memorized it, but I've listened to it a lot. Especially.
Rest in peace. Rest in peace to Dark Man. Rest in peace DMX.
Especially as I got more into X-Men. Not gonna lie.
Anyway,
so like I was saying, hey guys, y'all know who it is, what's going on, when it's happening, where it's at, and why we're here today. How you doing? It is I, the sublimely magnificent Big Ugly himself, Omari Ellis, feogrande on YouTube, Geotavi on Twitch and Twitter, or whatever else you want to call. Hell, you could call me Pete. That's what they call me sometimes on this show. And I am here once again with another episode of the Whatever We Want podcast. And as I have said, week after week after week, I cannot do this alone. I'm here with my buddies. When we were both in elementary school class, we weren't the same class, but you get what I'm saying. I'm trying to rhyme it with Superjaz.
So the best you could come up with was elementary school
class. Well, I've known you. Have I not known you since we were in elementary?
I mean, maybe, but like very much not at the same time.
No, I said not the same
4 years
class.
Apart.
I said not the same class.
Your ass would have been in middle school. What the fuck?
We're like 5
You knew me since I was in elementary. We keep doing this about when we met. And yes, of course, you were older than me. So I guess if anyone would know maybe more, you could make the argument that the older person when we were younger would know more than the person who was a little younger. But as far as I'm concerned, one of us was in elementary when we met.
At the latest, I'd say 6th grade, which is still elementary.
No, for fuck me. It ain't. That's middle.
6th?
When you was in school,
I think it depends on it depends. Probably depends on the district. Because to be fair to what you're saying, Riverview used to have the 6th grade center, and then you go to the middle school. Like you had the 1 through 5, and then you go to 6th grade at the 6th grade center, and then you go 7th and 8th at the middle school. Ferguson Florissant, 1st through 6th was elementary. Middle school was 7th and 8th.
Everybody I know of a certain age, like when you get to like, the older folks.
And considering where I lived, when I was going up to 6th grade, and y'all definitely knew me where I lived then. Yeah, I was, probably around 5th grade, which is still definitely elementary. But like I said, 6th grade at the latest that I met you, because I know where I lived back when.
Everybody I know of a certain age. Because like I said, when you get to the older folks, okay, but everybody of a certain age, like around our generation and shit that I know of, when you talk about elementary school is kindergarten through 5th, middle is 6th, 7th, 8th, and then 9th through 12th is high school. So,
well, like I said, when you go to an elementary school and you go to your 6th grade classroom, you might grow up thinking that elementary school is 6th grade. When I was in 6th grade, I went to an elementary school for it.
Okay, it took me a second. Anyway, before we go down this road without officially introducing the show and myself and whatever, yeah, as he said, right, we went on a whole little thing. You know, we the show is living up to his name before we even really get into it. One thing I'm gonna do before I introduce myself is I'm gonna do this. Haven't done that in a few episodes and keep forgetting to. All right, that being said, now might get back into that discussion, but a little bit of housekeeping. Yeah, as he said, I am Jazz. I am the secondary host. Not the secondary host, the second host. None of us
Main
are secondary.
Host, the star attraction. After all, it's like they say that Jazz bears watching.
You and this fucking inside joke. Watch a few episodes ago. Anyway. Neither of us are secondary hosts. We're both primary hosts. But yeah, I am Jazz. I am the other host of the show. You can call me Jazz, Superjaz, SJ, JT, whatever you want, what have you, and the like. And as you just witnessed a little bit, but I always say we do not lead the conversation on this. The conversation leads us. This is a whatever we want podcast. We do not do, like I said, that we let the chips fall where they may.
Every Wednesday.
And yeah, we can get back to discussing the whereabouts of elementary school and all that shit. But so
and like I said, different, cause yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Different school districts probably do it different ways because they got their different schools and stuff in there. When I was in 6th grade, I went to Bermuda, which was an elementary school. And if you don't remember where Bermuda is, or where I was living when I went to Bermuda, it's literally you take the about to show my age if this exit isn't a thing anymore, but you take the Bermuda exit off of 70 and where Bethesda, you remember Bethesda was, and like down the street a little bit more from Bermuda, that's where that elementary school was.
This is so nuanced in like the St. Louis, like Ferguson, Florida area. If you don't know what we talk about, you just like, what the fuck?
I'm saying, if you don't, and for people who are like, you ain't from St. Louis, well, there you go. I just listed some St. Louis stuff, and it wasn't even the stereotypical natural bridge and Kings Highway, which is a great intersection, but you know, that's just what everybody goes to. Like, yeah, everybody says that.
Anyway. Well, I mean, everybody who knows the hood says that, because I'm pretty sure there's like, you know, no offense, but let's call a spade a spade. Interesting choice of words for what I'm about to say. But I'm pretty sure there's a whole lot of white people that wouldn't know anything about Natural Bridge and Kings Highway except maybe that it exists. Fair. Probably don't know the shit intersects and anything. And I'm just being honest. You know, I'm calling, like I said, call spade a spade, because I'm, you know, there's a lot of stuff. Without, you know, going too far down the road of race, but I guess I am for the sake of what I'm talking about. But there's a lot of stuff that I've noticed because of where I grew up, who I grew up around, but then also going to schools with several different people of different backgrounds, races, shit like that. There's a lot of stuff that I noticed that a lot of people, for the most part, only know about the proximity of what they were exposed to. And that's not necessarily to talk about anybody bad. That's just how it is. Because I noticed that, like, a lot of times when I would talk to some of my white friends about certain shit, they wouldn't know what the fuck I was talking about, and vice versa, talking to my black friends, they wouldn't know about certain shit like that. Like, I remember when, you know, because like I've said on other episodes, we grew up in the hood, different hoods, but we each grew up in respective hoods. And I remember, you know, talking to some of my black friends back in the day about certain, I don't know, pop artists or shit like that. They don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. And then you talk about rap to some of my white friends even today, and they don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Just to name a few, you know, like pop culture, shit like that being music. But it was just, I don't know. It's something that I've been exposed to, and will forever, as much as I even adjust to, kind of have to be adjust to in my life, is that a lot of people, and again, not talking about anybody, it's just how it is, but a lot of people are only exposed to what they're exposed to more so with proximity. And because of the fact that, like I said, I grew up in the hood, but I, I was going to schools that weren't in the area that I grew up in. And then, especially when I went to DC and I, went to the neighborhood school, but then I also had friends that were doing this. And then when I started getting into acting, so you meet people of all ages and, various genders and whatnot, and, backgrounds and races and shit like that. So it's just something that is just always interesting, where it's like, to me, certain stuff is like, this is second nature. Of course, everyone knows about this. And then you say it to somebody and they're like, I don't know what the fuck that is. And it's not even just they missed it. No, it's I don't know what that is. That is something extremely foreign to me. What the fuck does that even mean?
That's
true.
So
just interesting shit.
That's true. But I feel like the intersection of two of the biggest streets in St. Louis and/or an exit off of one of the most popular highways in St. Louis would be easily recognizable.
I do think that if we're being honest, if we go back to that to make it full circle, I think more people would know about Natural Bridge and Kings Highway than would know about Bermuda. I know what you're talking about, but I think more people would know about Natural Bridge and Kings Highway because those are two main streets in St. Louis.
Well, and that was my initial point, I guess, when I said it the first time. I'm like, I mentioned something and it wasn't even Natural Bridge and Kings Highway, which everyone would know. And that's where you went on your tangent about, well, to be fair, not everybody would know about it.
I'm not.
And now we come around and now you're like, well, I feel like more people would know about Natural Bridge and Kings Highway. Like somehow that was my argument wasn't that.
The tangent I went down wasn't so much it wasn't so much to like refute anything you were saying, more so than to make conversation, because that's the point of the podcast. So no one was necessarily saying that Pete was wrong, more so than they were saying, hey, this podcast is about having random discussions. So,
anyway, back to the 6th grade thing. I was going to say,
and fuck my discussion. I'm not mad. Back to the 6th grade, whatever the fuck you talking about, Jay.
No, you made your point, and I agree.
I'm fucking with you.
Made your point, and I agree. Like there are people out there that don't understand a single reference of what I'm talking about. Like I work at a job with people of various races as well, and various ages as well. So that's always fun to see. Like, oh, I'm a decade older than this person, and they don't understand anything I'm referencing. Anyway, what were we talking about? Oh yeah, people of various races. Yeah, they have different things, different. Not even just races. It's places where you live in the city, which I'm sure was a point you made as well, and stuff like that. It's just interesting, but that's why conversation is key. And talking with people and sharing experiences, so you get to understand one another.
One of the best examples, I think, of cultural differences that isn't necessarily pop culture, but cultural differences that I always find so interesting is, and I don't even want to preface it. Well, no, I'm not prefacing it because we just said fucking wild, crazy shit anyway, so fuck that. But
wild and crazy. Wild and crazy.
Well, yeah, wild and crazy kids. I used to love that show. But no, the word cunt is such offensive. How dare you? Oh my God, don't say that around me, you terrible person. Oh no word within the white community. But I've told so many of my white friends, and I believe this to be true, that in the black community, we don't even use that word.
Okay, I'm about to say, I thought you were going to be like, no, it's not nearly as offensive. I'm like, I've never
exactly
talked to another black person and said...
the word cunt doesn't even like come up. We don't even say it. And I just think that I've always thought that it was so funny that you got one community where this is just like the lowest of the low. How could you never call me that? Oh my God, we're no longer friends because you said this word. And this other community is like, what was that word again?
Well,
Spell it for
and
me.
then you have and then you have the Brits or Australians, one of the two. They sound similar,
yeah.
and they just throw that shit around. Like,
Right, they say that shit like it's fucking it tastes delicious saying it, right?
Guy calling other people a cunt, guy calling himself a cunt just to say that he's I guess he's like, you're looking at a right cunt or some shit like that. I'm like,
yeah.
I'm an honorary cunt. I'm like, damn.
Oh,
like, all right. Fair enough.
But like I said, I've always thought that was so funny. Like I said, because if you have typical people, like if you have, let's say, 2 white people, 2 black people, and you had them side by side, and somebody was to just call everybody in that lineup a cunt, 9 times out of 10, the 2 white people would get way more offended than the black people would be like, I'm what? Fuck out of here with that shit. And probably either laugh it off or think it was like stupid or some shit. So I just always thought that was so funny how that to me is one of the best examples of cultural differences, like I say, that's not pop culture, but just this is so offensive to one group and the other group don't even use the word, because the word cock is a word that black people don't use either. But black people use cock a little bit more than they use cunt. Cunt doesn't even come up. I ain't never really said that word except for this example like that I'm doing right now. Like
it is not one of my go-tos, no.
Like if me or you were to get a white girlfriend, if we got in an argument with said woman and we call her a cunt, she would probably, scenarios, I'm being silly, but she, it would be on grounds to like call up her friends and be like, you won't believe what he called me. That kind of shit. If we get a black girlfriend, she'd be like, she'd get mad, like, what did you just say? Like out of confusion, more so than anger. So I
think given the tone of it, I think they're gonna be insulted regardless.
Touche.
Like, that's the thing. That's one of my arguments about words, where it's like context can make a stupid word still, like, you know what I mean? It's like it still hits just as hard because y'all are arguing and you are clearly trying to offense. You know what I mean?
Say offense like that.
Well, you're attacking. So
offense. I am offending you.
Why are you saying it like that?
Because you're attacking with the word. Consider the emphasis, like when that word comes out. So like you got offense, shit like that. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. It's just funny.
So yeah, be nice to each other, folks. So 6th grade. We got my point from earlier.
I'm like me and you are having 2 different podcast episodes right now. Anyway, go ahead.
I guess at the end of the day, what I wanted to say was my 3 examples that I wanted to have of Riverview, which had the 6th grade center that I mentioned. Because I was in Riverview for like actually up till 5th grade. I was in Riverview, and then I ended up starting to go to Bermuda for 6th grade. And I was like, well, I'm not going to the 6th grade center. I'm going to Bermuda Elementary. All right. And then 7th and 8th grade, both middle schools in Ferguson, Florissant, whether there was Ferguson Middle or Cross Keys, were 7th and 8th grade only. And then, however, I have heard other people reference 6th grade as middle school because I've seen like other states or other countries, 6th, 7th, 8th is middle. So I was gonna say I kind of agree with you there, but I was just saying I said I associate 6th with elementary because I was in elementary when I was in 6th grade.
Okay. So you saying that like your 6th grade probably didn't even consider it elementary.
No, they
it
did.
Just felt like
they considered it elementary.
Oh, they did? I thought you were just saying
it was at the elementary school.
Building. Just because it was because the weird thing, like what I thought you were saying was it was in the elementary building.
It was.
But it wasn't considered elementary.
No, I said other people. Yeah, I'm saying other people consider 6th grade elementary because of their different districts and how they grew up. Like a lot of people probably went to a middle school for 6th grade.
Is what I'm saying making any sense of what I was trying to say? My bad. Normally I silence my phone. But what I was saying making any sense with how I was trying to phrase it?
I think so, but you said it was at a school, but the school didn't consider it.
I thought because in few circumstances, some schools will have it where they'll have a different like grade within the buildings. I thought you were saying that it was still considered middle school. It just happened to be in an elementary building.
I don't think
that's
so,
what I thought you were saying. You think they considered it elementary?
Because the 2 middle schools for the district were both only 7th and 8th.
You know, I don't think I ever really knew where your ass went to elementary, let alone like middle, but definitely
Lewis and Clark Elementary for I don't know if I ever knew that. So Buttons, no, not Buttons. Meadows.
I was gonna say tell everybody your history, but you well past it, so can't nobody really come looking for you.
You cannot find May in St. Louis.
And even if they could, well past elementary school, what the fuck?
Yeah, anyway. Meadows, which was in Riverview. Then I went to for kindergarten. I went to Storm and Stufflin for kindergarten half the 1st grade was at Meadows. Storm and Stufflin was for the other half of 1st grade, 2nd and 3rd. Storm and Stufflin being the black private school in St. Louis.
You talked about that on previous episode.
Oh, because I was talking about acting sources. Yeah, I was like, why would I bring up Storm and Stufflin? The 2nd and half of 3rd grade. So 1st grade, the 2nd half of 1st grade, 2nd grade, and the 1st half of 3rd grade, I was at Storm and Stufflin. Then I went to Lewis and Clark Elementary, which is also in Riverview, in Castle Point, off of Lord, I was on Lord. It was off of like Duke or something else royalty related. That's the point in Castle Point. All the streets are named after royalty shit.
Oh, that's funny. Okay.
Yeah, so I went to Lewis and Clark for 2nd half of 3rd grade, all of 4th, all of 5th. Then I went to Bermuda for 6th grade because I went from Riverview School District to Ferguson-Florissant School District. So I went to Bermuda, especially because I lived very close by it. I lived very close by. And that was 6th grade. 1st half of 7th grade, went to Ferguson Middle. 2nd half of 7th grade and all of 8th, because I had moved further into the Ferguson-Florissant School District, too far from Ferguson Middle. I moved across Keys. And then after that, high school was all McClure North.
That's the only one I really knew was McClure North. I didn't realize you went to that many fucking schools before you went to high school.
Moved around a lot. When I tell people I've lived around St. Louis for a while. Oh, I went to somewhere else for kindergarten too, or part of 1st grade. I forget where it was. It was off of Alcott or near Alcott or some shit, way down. Anyway, I lost my train of thought when I started thinking about that extra school.
Clearly, what the fuck? Like a little pause is fine.
Oh, I lived around St. Louis. I lived around St. Louis, like, because people are like, where are you from, St. Louis? Oh, I lived all around the city, but mainly, Ferguson, Florissant area. Because I went to, I mainly lived in the Riverview and that school-wise, but I have lived all around that city.
Because I remember you pretty much living in one area for most of the time that I knew you while you were here. So that's why I didn't realize that your ass, because like I said, and of course, most people's formative years, pretty much everybody's formative years are in high school because, that's when you're coming into your own. So I remember most of it, you being at McClure North and staying in one area. I didn't realize your ass went to that many damn schools. I really didn't realize it.
And the fact that I missed one when I was listing all of those.
Yeah, you went to, damn. Was it,
it was very brief, that one that I missed. It was like maybe a month or two.
Oh, damn,
whatever grade it was. Like, it was very brief.
Was it hard trying to like learn or study or shit like that going to that many fucking schools?
No,
the
only thing that sucked was having to take Spanish 1 again for when I was going to take Spanish 2 or whatever, or trying to do it, but I couldn't because of changing grades or changing schools in 7th and 8th grade. And I'm like, I gotta retake Spanish 1 for 8th grade, or I can't take Spanish 2 for 8th grade. Something was weird about it, and I'm like, dang it.
Something about your credits get like mixed up weird or some shit like that.
One school offering one thing and another school not.
And it didn't honor it or some silly shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't weird like trying to learn to move up or anything like that. Well, that's good.
The only weird thing was, making friends.
I was about to ask you that. Was it weird making friends? Yeah.
Yeah, or being sociable. Well, let's see. So kindergarten, maybe I was, had friends in Pablo. I don't remember a lot of them. I went first grade, or Storm and Stufflin, I had about 2 friends. One was a guy named William, and people called him Bill. I remember joking about him being Bill Clinton because that's who was president at the time, and he was light-skinned. Bill, and I'm pretty sure there was Teddy was the other one.
Okay.
And we were cool all the time while I was at Storm and Stufflin. When I went to... What the hell did I call this damn school? Why am I forgetting the name of the school? Lewis and Clark.
What did I call the school? Like you gave it some nickname. That's the actual name of the school.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm saying, what did I say was the name of the school? Like,
I'm just laughing.
Yeah, Lewis and Clark. When I went there, had a friend. I'm like, wait, I still know this guy. I had a few friends. One was a dude. That's screwed. I'll say first names. They'll know who I'm talking about if they watch this. I had a friend named Eric. He was like one of my main friends when I first got there. We're in 3rd grade. 4th grade, there was Nehemiah. The homie. Nehemiah was cool. And there was a dude. I won't say his last name, but his first and middle name were Jordan and Michael. Which I just remember because, Michael Jordan was popular at the time. So a guy named Jordan Michael.
Like, clearly there's a reference. Yeah, that's funny.
His last name wasn't, but his first middle was Jordan Michael. And I remember that. And the 3 of us, that's when I first started having friends that I knew at school and occasionally, very rarely, would see outside of school. You know what I mean? Then I went to... Sorry, my phone. Neither of us muting the phones, but I hardly ever do on this show, as I've noticed.
A lot of times you don't. Yeah.
So yeah, go to Bermuda. I had 2 friends going. I had a friend going in because of where I was living at the time. He was one of my friends in the neighborhood, and he was my age. I had a friend going into Bermuda, but we kind of had a falling out while we were at Bermuda because he didn't. He had his own friends there, and they ain't like me. And so he at school would act. He didn't like me.
He would act. How old were you?
6th grade.
About. Oh, okay.
So
that's around the time where people would start doing some shit like that.
And that's also where I started to get a lot more angry in class, or angry in general, because at Lewis and Clark, it was during the time where I got bullied, or what. Well, I don't know. I'm putting it in quotes. I was bullied. One time I tried standing up to the bully, got my ass beat in the middle of a street. That was cool. Damn. Yeah. So, but I ended up, just kind of bottling up anger from like 4th grade on, or around that time on, and it wasn't until 6th grade is when I first started having little outbursts of getting mad, especially involving said friend I had going into Bermuda. 7th grade, I might have had a few acquaintances or whatever, but not long enough at Ferguson Middle because I was only there a semester. But I went to Cross Keys, and that's where I've met 2 of the guys that were at the hangout thing. Where I met Bob the Tomato, and I'm not sure if I gave the other guy a name.
Oh, so you met, but you met.
I met him at Cross Keys.
Met them before high school.
Yeah, middle school.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm. We were in the same team. How? Did your middle school split things into teams?
When you say in teams, what you mean?
Like certain groups of classrooms or teams. What region of the school do you usually go to at this middle school?
So what we had at my school, I'm not gonna name my school, but what we had at my school was, we had 6th, 7th, and 8th, and we had 6A, 6B, 7A, 7B, 8A, 8B, and most of the time 6th grade, if they were gonna do anything, the grades would do their own things. Mm-hmm. But if they did split it up, 6th grade and 7A would do their thing.
Gotcha.
8th grade and 7B would do their thing. So like having lunch together, having other little like assemblies if we had to split it up and it wasn't the whole school, shit like that. But it wasn't no like team thing, no, like that. That's why I was like, when you said it, I was like, fuck you mean teams?
I mean, our team was Young and the Restless.
With you over here throwing up like shift gang signs. What the fuck are you talking
I don't know
about?
why I'm throwing up gang signs. Like, what the fuck? Squad up, represent.
Young and the Restless. Teams in what sense?
Kind of like your 6A, 6B, 7A, 7B, okay. I guess. Okay. But they called them teams. And it'd be groups of classes and groups of teachers and students that, kind of get scrambled around. You had the same group
maybe
of teachers.
The same shit there. Yeah.
But yeah, so
same
we
concept.
were in the same team, and that's around the same time. Cross Keys was around the same time where the whole ugly power thing started. And yeah. But yeah, that's where I met Bob the Tomato and Tom Cruise.
You said wait, okay.
I said Tom Cruise, but I'm joking. But I'll call him
Tom
Dunk.
Cruise.
How about that?
You said what?
Dunk. How about Dunk?
What's so funny is I was gonna say before you made it more obvious, so I could know who it is, because I know who it is. I was gonna say when you say Tom Cruise, I was gonna say, is that an alias for one of the people who was at the bar with us? Yeah. And I was gonna put 2 and 2 together and pretty much land on that.
Yeah.
But so I didn't realize you met both of them before high school. I thought they're like pretty much like everybody who was hanging with us that day you had met at the at your high school. Mm-hmm. Like I said though, because like I said, I remember I didn't realize, like, again, I did not realize while we were even knowing you, your ass was moving around that fucking much, like going to that many schools.
Because y'all stayed in the same spot, and half the time I came to you.
Yeah, but I remember, like I said, because like your house that you were staying in was the same house. It wasn't like you moved around different neighborhoods within the city. Because then if you moved around different neighborhoods in the city, then I'd have been like, well, okay, no shit, Peter's fucking going every goddamn where.
All right.
Because I was gonna say when me and Ibn being my older brother, when me and Ibn stayed in DC, we moved. We actually, our dad said that he purposefully tried to get us to stay at the same school because we were in high school, and we did, but we moved around to several different, places to stay. So
I was doing that for a bit with the Lewis and Clark thing. Like I went to Lewis and Clark for 4th and 5th grade, but I had already moved to close to Bermuda actually. But my mom was like still having me go to Lewis and Clark. And then 6th grade, it's like, all right, let's stop this. Bermuda's right down the street. Okay. And it would have been when I would have had to go to the 6th grade center, which was even further away than Lewis and Clark was. So it's like, no. What's cool is it's gone now, but for a good like 5 or 6 years, my family crest was up on the wall in that school as painted by me. Because my 5th grade class got to like decorate the walls, and I just found out about my family crest, so I put it on the wall as best I could. I'm not the most artistic of individuals, especially when I was in 5th grade. But yeah, that was cool. It was there for a while. They eventually remodeled the school or rechanged something about it, but it was there for a good almost a decade, if not a decade at least.
It's a weird feeling when you go back to a school that you used to be in, like your old elementary school or something like that, and you go back to it after it's like no longer operational or been changed around or something like that. It's a weird feeling because like I will say the elementary school that I went to, because of the fact that it's no longer operational, Lion ABI, Academy of Basic Instruction. But it was just funny one time when me and Big Bro were going by one time and we went by to look at it. It's just funny because, you know, when you're younger, when you're like 5, 6, the world is so much bigger than it is when, you know, I'm about to be 31, you know, obviously. And a few years ago, I remember looking at it and, you know, it being closed down or whatever, and looking back and being like, I remember right here, this was where, you know, you would come out during recess and they said, don't go past this line because they couldn't see you. And I remember right here, this house next door, you know, there's a house next door to the school that had some random decorative flag for whatever holiday was coming up. So like they would have some random, like, you know, hanging almost like American flag hanging, but it was like a flag hanging for Halloween and hanging for Valentine's Day. I don't know where they got these flags from, but they had a flag for every fucking holiday. And when it started getting cold, it was like maybe it was a snowman on the flag or some shit. I don't know. It's just so interesting. But it was just like seeing all that shit, and it was just like, I remember when they put this, I think it's still, this might still actually be there, because it was like a little flat top that we played over recess. It's like, I remember when they put this map of the United States on the flat top, and I think it's still honestly there. And it's just so funny when you go back and you look at it and see that it ain't no longer operational, first of all, which is crazy, because it was like, that was your fucking life for 6 years. That is no longer operational, but the whole time it was like, this was like a thing, you know, and now the whole building, they don't use it for shit really. But what's even crazier is going back and looking at that stuff and seeing that, like I said, when you 5, 6 years old, the world is so much bigger and everything like that. You go back, you look at it, and all the shit just seemed normal and small.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a lot of stuff like that is just like just crazy to go back and be like,
yeah, that wall was so much smaller when I went back years later and saw the thing. I was like,
huh? But when you were there, that shit seemed fucking huge. That was your life. Like, that shit is crazy. Like I said, like that flat top See, it was like, just a normal little flat top. It's basically a fucking parking lot, that you just didn't park on, and they kind of, put basketball hoops up on this fence and shit like that. But it was just like this fucking flat top was like the shit. Like, you run around, race each other, chasing each other, playing tag, all kind of little shit. Went back and looked at that shit. That shit looked small to the motherfucker. It's just funny going back and seeing that. This is something that was honestly crazy right here. As I started getting older, you want to talk about stuff where you're like, damn, that's a lot smaller now than I really realized it was. Fucking when I started getting older and the fucking toilets seems so much lower to the ground and not as big as they did when I was younger. That's the one thing I really remember, like going to the fucking bathroom as I started getting older, being like, because when you're younger, I used to kind of hold myself up and like really get on the thing if I had to do my business, or you really seemed like a lot higher doing the do. And then I remember I got older, I was like, toilets seem a lot lower to the ground than they did. Am I tripping? Like,
yeah.
That's one thing that to this day, and I would probably like leave this earth fucking still thinking about how like fucking toilets seemed a whole lot, a lot lower to the ground. And
why they build the toilet so small these days?
That's that age. And I started getting older, like maybe 9, 10, 11 years old. That's what it felt like. It's like,
I could definitely see me thinking that at some point in my life, like, damn, why are they toilets so low?
right. It really felt like that. One of the quote unquote sober facts when I was younger too, as I started getting older, was I remember my mom, but one of my aunts in particular, you take you by the hands and spin around, and you take air and you start spinning, and you flying in the air and all that shit. I used to love doing that shit. To this day, I wish I could do that shit. But one of the like sobering facts is when I started getting like bigger to the point where she could no longer do that shit, to the point where it was no longer even a question. Like, hell no, I ain't about to pick your big ass up and try to spin you around. Fuck out of here. So yeah, just I don't know. I guess we over going down this reminiscence, making me think about just like I'm not gonna say plight because it's not a plight, but the interesting like intricacies, so to speak, of like just getting older and how interesting and weird, crazy shit like that could be.
The plight of aging.
That's why I was like, I'm about to
how are these toilets so small? God damn it!
Was that something that you never thought about for real?
What, the toilets?
Like toilets, like
I just told you, I
old?
definitely have had that thought at some point.
Oh, okay.
Sitting at some place like, why is their toilet? Are they making toilets smaller? I'm pretty sure that thought has gone through my head at least once in my life. But yeah, the plights of aging. Yeah, I don't know.
So I was like, not plights, but plights for lack of a better word, but not plights.
Pain. That's a plight.
I mean, I ain't never really had no pain, so to speak, of getting older.
Yeah, there we go.
For those of y'all who aren't watching the screen cracking
that and wrist
without trying.
And wrist. Got my knee and my back. The back's my fault though.
Okay,
that's my fault.
That's something that I want to say that I really want to talk about. Ain't no motherfucking pain of getting older, because when motherfuckers sit up here and talk about as we all start getting older and hitting 25 and 6 and 7 and 8 and 9 and 30 and whatever the fuck, so on and so forth, and everybody's like, oh man, you start getting older, oh, that's when your knee starts to go, oh, your knees really start to get bad when you start to hit your late 20s. I had a fucking bad right knee and right ankle since I was 8. So when I'm seeing everybody on social media, oh my God, my knee, my ankle, oh my neck, my back, my door, and my crack. Sit your mother.
I definitely had a bad knee at least since I was 14. had a bad ankle since about 12.
So
And
you
now I
kind
have
of
2 bad ankles and 2 bad knees.
so then you would kind of feel me then when everybody over here, oh my God,
Oh.
it hurts so much to be up here. And when you started hitting 25 and your knee hurts, and oh no, shut the fuck up. When I see people writing that shit on social media, I'm like, man, yeah, imagine fucking growing up and your ass is getting used to fucking wearing knee braces and fucking ankle braces, not because you got an injury, but just because that's life.
Yeah, right? Thank you. Every time I see people here today, they're like, oh, what happened? Did you have a sports injury? No. What did you do? I'm going to tell you the same thing doctors have told me for the past lot of years.
Real talk. I remember when I was about 8 years old, I don't know if it was because we played soccer or not, but my mom had me and my brother in soccer. Nothing special happened to make it this way. But I remember looking at both my knees over the course of a few days, and my right knee in particular, I remember looking at it and it was getting bigger and it was squishy. And I don't know why, but I remember looking at it and being like, my right knee should not be this big, and pushing on it and being like, why is it squishy? And I ended up getting water drained off my knee. And I don't think that had anything to do, like, I don't think they did anything like weird botched surgery and no shit like that. But ever since I had the water on the knee, I've had a bad right knee. Right. Is water on the knee? Yes, motherfucker. Yes, it is.
I don't know how I never knew this about you. Because I've always wondered what the fuck water on the knee was, but apparently you've actually had it. Because
is there water on the knee? It's a whole bucket, see? My Charlie horse is true. I'm the doctor for you.
You'll go through the whole thing. But no. Yeah, I had to get the last one out. But no, like I said, it was water on the knee. And like I said, I remember looking at it and it was squishy and shit like that. And basically, like, I don't know how it happened. I don't know what would have caused it done like that. But basically, water on the knee is like some kind of pus or some shit like that. And they drained it off. And yeah, I remember too. I remember they put some like patch or something like on me. I think I was ashy as shit when they did the operation too, because I think I used to be like an ashy ass kid growing up. Like I didn't really like lotion myself as much as I should have. So I kind of remember them putting like patches on my leg or whatever. Like they put like these little patches with this like medicine or whatever the fuck on you because it would, induce sleep. But I think I remember being ashy as shit when they did the operation, which is fucking hilarious. But anyway, they put the patches on me, and I remember being up there, and I kind of want, you know how everybody kind of get like that. You want to see the pus when they drain it. I want to see the so-and-so, which is stupid as fuck. So I think I wanted to see this shit, but of course, no way in fuck they were gonna let me see the fucking like stuff. Like, who cares that much? Shut your little ass up, go under, take this fucking water on the knee off, and then, shut up. So I remember they did that shit. And they knocked me out with the patches, drained the water off, woke up, had to get in a wheelchair for like a hot second, basically, like just to get in the car and shit like that. And then I also remember like the bad right ankle that came from, to this day still, and this I really don't know where this came from, but that came from one day I just randomly started getting like an extra little growth on my ankle. Like, I can show it to you next time we hanging out. But like both my ankles, this ain't no weird water in the knees, ain't no weird like bump, growth, whatever fuck. But I got on my ankle a little small, little extra little bump. And especially when it was growing in, it used to hurt like a motherfucker. And like I say, it's still there. Like if I reach down, I can touch it right now. My right ankle. I don't know why, but I got it. And that kind of contributed to me having a bad right ankle. I mean, it didn't help, maybe not 10 years later, but let's say in my teens or whatever, it didn't help when I sprained my ankle. But that didn't contribute to the to the initial pain. I don't know where that growth came from. And like I said, I still got it. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Don't bother nothing. But yeah, like even if I wear if I wear high top sneakers, sometimes I can feel it rubbing on that little like kind of bone bump a little bit more. I don't know. But so that's where both of those came from. And then I remember when I was about 14, my first job, my dad had a friend that had this kind of door-to-door cookie business. And I remember I was walking door to door doing the cookie business, just trying to make some money in high school. And that, for whatever reason, caused me to like, and I think it might be because of the water on the knee, but that caused me to have like my right calf muscle gets like a lot tighter quicker than my left calf muscle. So sometimes like right underneath where the calf muscle meets the like the rest of your like shin, I get like I can get like a little like muscle spasm bump or whatever right underneath. I'm wearing a compression sleeve right now actually to like kind of constrict it. Now, my right leg is fucked up. My right leg, for me to feel 100% comfortable and pretty much to no fault or of my own or any doing of my own, for me to feel 100% comfortable, I have to wear a knee brace, a compression sleeve on my calf, and an ankle brace.
Damn.
Right. So all these motherfuckers out here talking about when you hit your late 20s and you start hitting them and on the world your knees, oh man, they start to go. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
I love
like
y'all,
rain
but
today, sonny. I can feel it in my joints.
I can tell you. I can tell you when it's about to rain.
Oh, I can too. I sure can. I remember a few years ago it started happening to me. I'm like, oh no, it's gonna rain. And they said, nigga, you in Florida, it always rains. And I was like, oh.
Do you have like childhood arthritis or some shit too?
But I was right. It rained. And my knees hurt like a bitch.
I had one of my friends where I was like, yeah, man. I said, I got a bad right knee. And I was like, oh, my knee hurt like really, really, really bad. I was like, I'm probably going to end up raining tomorrow. And he was like, man, it ain't going to rain tomorrow. And it rained hard. And I was like, hey, man, so look like it rained today. He's like, man, fuck you and your knee. I basically had like some level of childhood arthritis that I never treated. Because people with arthritis could pretty much be like, hey, it's about to rain. And then it does. So there you go.
Yeah, my non-arthritic arthritis pretty much operates the same way.
What, do you get it in your like hands and wrists and shit?
Oh, it's in my fucking knee.
Oh, well, you just said
it's like arthritic symptoms, but every test I've gotten just comes back with even a doctor, even a knee specialist. I haven't tested myself. And even a knee specialist. He specializes in knees. This is what he studies. He said, I'm gonna be a doctor. What part of the body am I gonna focus on? The motherfucking rhodesia, the knee. And so he sits there and he hears my knees. And upon me describing what my pain was, and then him just hearing the demonstration, because all I had to do was squat, and my knee popped like 8 times, both of them. Because the left one's just far worse than the right. He's like, oh, that sounds like kneecap arthritis. I'm going to get you an MRI, which is a further step than I had ever gotten in the 20 years at the time.
I got an MRI before, yeah.
Not the 20 years. Like 13 years at the time that I had this issue. No, longer than that. Long ass time. I've had this issue for a while. Bottom line is, I finally got to an MRI stage. Let's see what's up with the knee. Hit the MRI. Go back to the doctor. Opens the door. Hey, how you doing? Yeah. So, what was wrong with you again? Motherfucker, you heard me. You gave me the instant diagnosis.
He gave you an MRI, but then he said,
wait a minute. When he received the MRI, he's like, so what did you say was wrong with you again? And I'm like, I'm sorry, what? all this time, I was thinking I would get answers. Start with the knee and then figure out what's up with my shoulders and figure out what's up with the rest of my joints. Because I'm pretty sure I have fucking arthritis. And the doctors tell me you have arthritis symptoms, but then they tell me you don't have arthritis based on any test that we have. You just are in pain and you have to hold that shit.
I thought you were glad. You just had to get that off your chest. I thought you had more. Anyway, it's funny.
Which is generally what I focus on, what I just condense into the general thing of the response being,
Right. I have never gotten tested. I honestly should have gotten some level of testing or some level of something, because I'm pretty sure if I go to a hospital and I say, yo, I think I got arthritis, motherfuckers will probably look at it, be like, so tell us about it, and then look at it, you know, do a little bit of test and be like, oh, yeah, motherfucker, you do. Why did you not come see about this about 20 fucking years ago, you dumbass? So,
well, the dude was like, yeah, there is some inflammation and some, but at the end of the day, it's nothing we can really do anything about. Maybe in 10 or 15 years when it turns into osteoarthritis, you probably have to get a new knee or something. But can't really do anything now.
me and you honestly both. If we're both talking about and describing this shit the way we're talking about and describing, we both will probably have to get like reconstructive surgery on our knees in about 30 years, which is bad, but yeah. But anyway, hopefully it'll take y'all less than 30 years to go ahead and follow us on our socials if you feel so inclined to. So if you would like to see more of your boy, please go ahead and find and follow me on my Facebook page. Go ahead and give me a like. That would be under Superjaz, which is spelled Superjaz. You can go ahead and also, if you feel so inclined, find and follow me on my Twitter, which would be under Superjaz2. So that would be Superjaz number 2. And of course, you can find and follow me on my Instagram, which would be under Forever Superjaz. Also, I do rap. I'm an MC from time to time. So if you would like to hear some of the music that I've made, you can go ahead and find anywhere you stream your music my debut solo album that came out beginning of October, which is My Secret Identity. You may have to put out Superjaz, My Secret Identity, because I'm not that famous yet. Where can they find and follow you, my man?
Oh, you know where you can find me. You can find me every week here on the Whatever We Want podcast, but you can also find me elsewhere. You can find me elsewhere on YouTube, the YouTube/feogrande, that's feogrande. You can also find me on Twitch and Twitter at Giotavi, that's Giotavi. That's right, named after a character from a book that will never be published. But yeah, it's cool times, cool vibes. You know how it is. Nah, but yeah, that's where you can find me.
So we sitting up here, we talk about, where to find everybody. We talking about, arthritic knees. We talking about, all kind of shit, whatever like that. So obviously we had a whole lot to talk about this episode, and we sat up and we talked about it and got it all, got it done. But that's what we talked about this episode.
Mm-hmm.
This happens to me every episode.
What's that?
You would think by this time I would like write it down because this is so fucking embarrassing. But what the fuck are we gonna talk about next episode?
Well, that's the thing. No need to be embarrassed. No need to write it down because we're gonna talk about whatever we want. Be nice to yourself, everybody. Adiosness. For real, be nice to your motherfuckers. Hey, you right there, you. Not him, not Omari, Pete, whatever. No, you listening, watching. Be nice to your motherfucking self. Don't make me come over there. All right, then. Adiosness. Ooch. I'll be out of here.